Welcome to the ultimate JJK tier list. I'm going to try to rank every single character in JJK, and I want to go through to see how strong the verse actually is. I'll be going through and ranking them by order of appearance in the manga, and I'll be looking at their curse technique, their battle IQ, their overall strength at their peak, and the last state we saw them in. And when I say every single character, I mean every single character. Starting from JJK0, I'm going to go through the main cast, characters you probably forgot about, characters I probably forgot about, and some that you may not consider to be characters at all. Before I start, I'm going to try to lay down some ground rules. I'm going to group curse manipulation users and their curse spirits as one character. For example, Geto and his curse spirits. When I rank Geto, I'm going to try not to go through all of his curse spirits, and I'm just going to consider all of them and him as one character, because I think they're part of him. I believe they're just one character together. Same goes for cursed corpse users. I'm going to consider them as one. Groups of people I'm also going to consider as one character. For example, the crowd that watched Gojo and Geto's breakup, I'm going to consider that as a character. If you feel like some of my choices are silly, or if you feel like I missed a character, let me know. I will happily recategorize a character or add one. If you feel like the ranking is bad, let me know. I will take that into consideration, and I feel like I agree with you, I could totally change it in the future. This is going to be how I set up my tier list, starting with S tier. These are sorcerers that are incredibly strong and almost unbeatable. They could probably take down a country on their own if they wanted to. A tier is a very strong sorcerer, able to take down a special grade curse fairly easily. B tier is a strong sorcerer, can take down most curse spirits, but probably not special grade. C tier will be the average sorcerer, and can take down most low-grade cursed spirits. D tier will be weak sorcerers, or the strong average person. They can't really take on most cursed spirits. F tier, fodder, so weak they can't do anything. Alright, now that we know the tiers and we know the rules, let's start ranking. Yuta Kotsu is our first entry. He is a very strong first entry. He's got a lot going for him. He is a special grade sorcerer, one of 4 special grade sorcerers to be characterized as such. He is stated to have boundless curse energy reserves. He knows reverse curse technique. He has a domain expansion, and his curse technique is very unique and probably one of the most OP in the verse. His technique is called copy. It lets him copy the innate techniques of anybody that has had a body part eaten by Rika. Rika being the cursed spirit that has attached themselves to Yuta after Yuta's childhood friend Rika Orimoto was killed, and then she became a curse. Yuta uses Rika to store his copied curse techniques and his curse tools. But Rika, she has 2 forms on her own. She can be partially manifested and then fully manifested. While partially manifested, she can attack and defend Yuta. She's pretty strong. She's like a constant teammate for Yuta, which is crazy. He's always in like 2v1s, or he's always got a second teammate. And while fully manifested Rika, she can give Yuta access to all of his stored curse techniques and resupply Yuta's cursed energy from her own reserves. So that's pretty crazy. He's got a constant teammate. And Yuta on his own is pretty strong. He's very strong. He's very versatile. He knows that his curse technique will like catch his opponents off guard. And we saw him do this a lot during his fight with Ryo and Uro. We saw him use Uro's own technique against her. And then we also saw him use Shikigami and Curse Speech to catch them off guard. And I think he uses like the element of surprise lot to overcome his opponents. And it's a good usage of his technique. We also saw him do it a lot against Sukuna, we saw him catch Sukuna off guard with his own technique as well. And when he does copy a technique, his version is usually stronger than the original. For example, Curse Speech is way stronger than Inumaki's Curse Speech, and he doesn't seem to have blowback like Inumaki does. His domain expansion, Authentic Mutual Love, just boosts his fighting style even further. His domain is just littered with katanas, and each one of these katanas lets him use any of his copied curse techniques without any restrictions. He just has to pick it up and use it. And then that technique he's using will act as a sure hit effect for the domain, which is incredibly hard to fight against, unless you're Sukuna, which he did. His weaknesses, though, I think are that he has to eat a body part to copy a technique. I think that might be difficult against a stronger opponent if he wants to use their technique. And he only has 5 minutes with fully manifested Rika, and only 5 minutes to use those techniques that he's copied, which is, I think, a short amount of time, but usually he's so strong he can get the job done in that time. But if we take all this into account, I think he is a very strong A tier. He's at the top of A tier now. He's the only one in A tier for now. But I put him in A tier and not S tier simply due to the fact that his use of his copy techniques is fairly restricted. He only has 5 minutes, and I think if he had unrestricted access, he would definitely be S tier. My baby boy Gojo is the second character we ever see in JJK, and he is another strong entry. We're starting off really strong with these two characters. He is another special grade sorcerer and has been known as the strongest sorcerer for a majority of JJK. Just simply due to the fact that his curse technique is incredibly OP. His curse technique is limitless, which allows him to manipulate the physical space around him. And he also inherited Six Eyes, which grants him precise control over curse energy, and with a combination of these two, he's just incredibly strong. Limitless has 4 forms. It has Infinity, Red, Blue, and Hollow Purple. Infinity being the most OP, and it just he uses this to create like a physical barrier around him. Infinity basically just slows things down to the point that they come to a complete stop. And because everything just comes to a complete stop before it reaches him, he just is untouchable. Blue, on the other hand, is limitless amplified with negative curse energy, which basically means that he creates a negative space that sucks in the surrounding area. Red is limitless amplified with positive energy through reverse curse technique, and it has the opposite effect and it just repels the surrounding area. And then Hollow Purple is a combination of red and blue, which is like it's an imaginary mass that just destroys anything in its path. And Gojo's technique is no contest the most OP in the verse, simply just due to the fact that you can't touch him. And because you can't touch him, he's not really crafty with his technique. When he is in a fight, we just mostly see him overpower his opponent, like with Jogo. He didn't really use any like crafty stuff. He just destroyed him. And then I guess we only really see the extent of his battle IQ in his fight in the subway, where he uses like a 0.2 second domain expansion to try to not harm any of the passengers stuck down there. And then I guess we also see it against Sukuna when he's using reverse curse technique to replenish his innate technique after like a domain expansion. And like this was crazy, and everybody watching thought it was crazy, and it just resulted in a brain bleed for him. So he does have some sort of like battle IQ. He's not just an overpowering monster. But also with his domain expansion, it adds just to him being an overpowering monster, because it's a unlimited void, and it just bombards whoever's trapped in it with so much information that they shut down. They can't do anything. They're frozen in place. As for his weaknesses, I don't really think he has any. If you can't get past Infinity, you can't do anything. He has no weakness with Infinity. But we have seen just one person get past Infinity. But I still think, taking everything into account, he is S tier. Even though he did die, I still think he is worthy of S tier. Rest in peace, my beautiful baby boy. Alright, the next character we ever see is Yuta's unnamed bully. We see him in chapter 1 of JJK0, bullying Yuta and then getting stuffed into a locker by Rika. He's a silly inclusion, but he's a character. He has to come into the tier list. He has no curse technique, no domain expansion, no reverse curse technique, no feats in general. Immediately getting stuffed in the locker is bad. Is bad for his rep. So unfortunately, he's gonna be our first F tier character. I'm going to consider this version of Rika a separate character, just because technically, I think she is a separate character. She is a vengeful cursed spirit that was created after Rika got run over by a car, and she lived up until Yuta lifted her curse after defeating Gedo. That's the last time we see this version of this character. The Rika we see with Yuta later on is a separate character, I think. So this version of Rika, we're gonna rank differently. She is still very strong. She's a special grade curse. She's very destructive, and fully manifested, she is probably the strongest curse spirit in JJK. She's even called the Queen of Curses, and I think we don't really have to look over her abilities. It's a lot of the same as Yuta's version of Rika, and I think just due to the fact that this is probably one of the strongest or the strongest curse spirit in JJK, we can put her in A tier. She doesn't make it into S tier just because she is a curse spirit, and curse spirits kind of have a power ceiling in JJK, and S tier sorcerers would easily outclass her in strength, and she would probably be defeated by Gojo. Next up we have Panda, and while he looks like a panda, he is actually a cursed corpse created by Masamichi Yaga. Cursed corpses usually have only one core, but Panda is different, and he is the first abrupt mutation cursed corpse, so he has 3 cores, and this means he is sentient and capable of acting on his own. He doesn't have a curse technique, but with his 3 cores, he kind of has multiple abilities. His 3 cores are Panda, Gorilla, and Triceratops, and each of these cores allow him to shift into 3 different modes with different abilities. The first being his normal Panda mode, which is like a base mode that is already pretty strong. We see him punch through curses and knock Toto back a few feet. His Gorilla mode is just kind of his base mode with an increase to his base strength and his durability, and physically he looks like a gorilla. He gets bigger. His third mode we don't really see. The only time we see it, it's just immediately destroyed by Kashimo when it's used. Panda's battle IQ, I think he's a very clever fighter on his own. He's able to kind of conceal where his cores are in his body to trick his opponent. And I think that's a clever use of this unique aspect of his character. It's smart thing to do, but he does have a lot of weaknesses. One of the weaknesses being that when he switches cores, he uses a lot more cursed energy, and he uses it up at a faster rate. He also can't change modes if one of the cores is damaged, so he has to wait for it to recover. And if it's completely damaged and destroyed, it's gone. He can't use it again. He can't recover it. And he had this happen. He lost 2 of his cores against Kashimo, so he's limited to a small little baby panda form. But it's cute, but he's not the strongest. He also does not have a technique, doesn't know how to use reverse curse technique, and no domain expansion. So He's limited to just using his forms. But he's still a strong brawler and a tough opponent. He can take down a lot of like low level curses, and he will ultimately struggle with like special grade curses and sorcerers. But with that, I think he will be our first C tier character. Maki Zenin is our next character, and she is one of my favorite characters. She's really cool. She has a heavenly restriction that grants her immense strength, speed, and durability in exchange for a complete lack of cursed energy. To like quickly summarize her abilities, her body is incredibly strong, incredibly powerful. She's like Superman, but she can't fly. She's the second person in JJK to have a heavenly restriction, first one being Toji, and I think she's on par to Toji, and I think she's on par to a weakened Sukuna. She like manhandled Sukuna in their fight. She was able to keep up with him and bounce off of the air like he could, and we even saw her tanking multiple of his slashes and multiple black flashes from Sukuna. She was a monster in this fight. She was crazy, and because of her heavenly restriction, she can't be targeted by domain barriers. So she's able to like freely go in and out of domains without being targeted by its sure hit effect. And I think her only weakness really is that she just has no curse technique or domain expansion. But like this is part of her strength. This is the reason she's so strong. And it's just, I don't know, her feats speak for itself. And her ability is pretty simple. She's just really strong. With all this in mind, I think we can put her into A tier. I think just below Yuta. Inumaki is a semi-grade 1 sorcerer with the Inumaki clan's inherited technique, Curse Speech. Curse Speech lets him infuse his commands and his words with curse energy, and it forces anybody who hears his commands to obey them. For example, he can use Stop, which just stops the target completely, or like a stronger command, Explode, which explodes. He can also amplify his technique with like technology. He can use a phone and talk over the phone, or he can use a megaphone to have his technique reach further. So that's interesting. That's unique use of his curse technique. I think he's pretty competent. He was the only student to be able to go on missions on his own, but I think he gets brought down a lot by like his technique and how well he can use his technique. Like powerful commands take a big toll on his body, and he has to have medicine on him to kind of ease the strain on his throat. And like in the case of a tougher opponent, it really hurts him a lot. And when he's not using his technique and wants to like talk like a normal person, he can't. He has to use rice ball ingredients to talk, which not really an issue because everyone understands him still. But he also lost his left arm in the Shui incident, but it's not really a weakness against him. He can still use his curse technique, but he's got low durability. I could have survived that slash probably. I think kind of putting this all into account, I think he's a B tier character. He's strong, but I think he gets brought down a lot by his weakness. We see Rika in a flashback in JJK0, and I would say she's not very strong. She's a child. She has no curse technique, no cursed energy, no feats. She did have one fight against a car, and she lost it, so it's not good for her. She goes into F tier. Next up, we have the culprit behind Rika's murder, the car. It's 1-0 in fights, so I think it could probably take down more F tier characters. So I'm gonna put it into D tier. They could probably take down a weak sorcerer. The next character we see is this random guy who is recording Rika after she just got run over by a car. What is this guy's problem? Why is he doing this? To be fair, in the movie, he's changed. He's actually calling the police, so he's a better person there. But in the manga, he's just recording it. It looks like he has his camera out. So, for this, he goes into F tier. What is his problem? We next see these weird mouth curses at that elementary school that Yuta and Maki are going to. As cursed spirits, they're not very strong. They get immediately killed by Maki. So I am gonna put them into F tier. Next up is the big elementary school curse that we see on that mission that Yuta and Maki are on. It's a fairly big curse. It's about the size, I guess, like a third the size of a multi-story building. And it manages to eat Yuta and Maki, and it looked like it was going to kill them in its stomach. It looked like Maki was going to give up. We don't see much of this cursed spirit because it gets killed by Rika after like Yuta decides to do something and ask Rika to kill it. But based on its size and ability, and the fact that it was gonna probably kill them if Rika didn't do anything, I'm gonna put it into C tier. It seems like you would need a fairly strong sorcerer to defeat this. So yeah, that's where it goes. The next character is the brother that we see inside of the stomach of that big elementary school curse. He's fairly weak. He got captured. That's a sign of a weak character, and he was gonna die in there. So unfortunately, he's gonna go into F tier. The first time we see this character, she is already unconscious. She is definitely weaker than her brother, so she's gonna be put into F tier. Alright, we're finally back to ranking sorcerers. But the next sorcerer we have, Ichiji, is not very strong. He's an assistant manager at Jujutsu High. He used to be a sorcerer, but Gojo called him useless, so he quit being a sorcerer. He doesn't have an innate technique, but he is a strong barrier user. He was able to conceal Gojo's hollow purple with his barrier. I think that's a pretty strong feat for a barrier user. As a competent barrier user, I think he's more suited to like support than combat. I don't think he has really any combat skills. So because of that, because he has no combat skills, no technique, I think he's gonna go into D tier. He might be able to defend himself, but he's very weak still. Next up is this school of cursed spirit fish. We first saw them in Inumaki and Yuta's first mission. Not very strong individually, but there was hundreds in a group. Still as a group, they got defeated by Inumaki, so not very strong either. D tier, they could probably go against a weak sorcerer. We have another special grade sorcerer on this list, Suguru Geto. He is one of the 4 special grade sorcerers. We've had 3 so far. There's a lot of powerful characters in JJK0. His innate technique is cursed spirit manipulation, which lets him capture and control cursed spirits. He has a lot of cursed spirits in his arsenal. He has the rainbow dragon, he has Tamamo no Mai, hopefully I said that right, and at one point he had Toji's weird little worm, but I'm not sure if he captured that like with his technique. I think he just had that lying around. Geto doesn't just rely on his curses. He's still very strong on his own, He's very quick. He surprised the students when he showed up to kind of challenge him to a war. He's probably as versatile as Yuta in my opinion, because like he has a curse spirit for every situation. He has less restrictions than Yuta. There doesn't seem to be a limit to how many he can have. He probably released over 100 cursed spirits on the night parade of 100 demons. He has a bunch. And he got so many because he's a crafty little guy. He pretended to be a Buddhist in the Time Vessel Association and just collected curses from people who came for help. So he's a crafty guy. And he's crafty in fights. But I think a weakness would be that I think he just has like one small weakness, is that he has to defeat the master of a cursed spirit if he wants to take that curse. Like he tried to take Toji's worm curse and it didn't work. But other than that, I can't think of any weakness he would have. He's pretty strong, and he would have probably killed Yuta if he didn't break up his curses. So I think he is in A tier, maybe above Yuta. Next up is this disgusting little worm curse spirit. It's a pretty weak curse spirit. It just stores objects in its body. Toji used it. He used it to carry weapons in his body, and then he would have this curse kind of ball up and then eat the curse. And then later, Geto adopted this curse and used it kind of in the same way. On its own, it's not very strong. It's more suited to like support, and I think it's going to go into F tier. I don't think it can really defend itself. I don't think it's a very strong curse spirit. I don't think it would fit into D tier. So, yeah, definitely an F tier curse. I hate his gross little face. Look at him. Next up, we have the mom coming in to get help for her daughter that was being cursed. She's just kind of a lady. She's weak. She couldn't exercise the curse on her own. Didn't even see it. So she's in F tier. Now we have the daughter that was being cursed, and she's also not very strong. She can take out the curse, so F tier. This creepy curse that attached themselves to this girl, I don't think is very strong. He didn't kill her, he was just really creepy and gross, and got easily absorbed by Geto, so F tier. Alright, now we're starting to get introduced to Geto's group of curse users. The first one we see is Manami Suda, and she's not very strong. We don't really see what she does or see her in any fights, but she's part of Geto's group, and I don't think he would choose a weak sorcerer, but I'm still going to put her into D tier, just because we don't have much information on her. Before we meet the rest of the crew, we have to look at Mr. Kanamori, who came in to Geto asking for help with a curse, but Geto killed him just because he hasn't donated in a while. So F tier, not very strong. Alright, back to Geto's crew with LaRue. LaRue's a sorcerer that was part of his gang. His innate technique is Heart Catch, which lets him create a large hand that can kind of grab targets and throw them. The hand itself is pretty strong. He's able to grab and throw Sukuna, which is that's a good feat. And it also has the ability to grab the attention of a target, and then this distracts that target and focuses their attention onto LaRue. I think he's pretty physically strong too. He took a black flash from Sukuna, and then he didn't die. He was still conscious after. So he seems fairly strong. We don't see much of him, but I would say a weakness about him would be that if his hand dies, he takes 1/10 of that damage. So that sucks. It just doesn't. It still affects him if it dies, and he can only grab the attention of targets that he has physically grabbed with his hand that he can throw out. So I don't know. We don't really see much of him, but I think he's gonna be a B tier sorcerer. He seems fairly strong. He put up a fight against Sukuna, so he goes in B tier. Miguel was also a part of Geto's group, and then he was later recruited by Gojo to train Yuta, which says a lot about him that Gojo went to recruit him. He's the only sorcerer we see that's not from Japan. His curse technique is pretty unique. It's called Prayer Song, or Hakuna Rana, which strengthens his body and lets him expel curses just by dancing to the beat that his body creates. And with his technique, his durability is very high. He was able to take hits from Gojo and fight back. He was also take hits from Sukuna and fight back. And he came out, I think he was the only one to come out unscathed. He's pretty strong, being able to go up against those two. So that's impressive. But I don't think he has much destructive power on his own. He seems like very hand-to-hand combat focused. So I guess that's just the only weakness I could think of. And I think he would go into A tier just because he has such high durability, and I think he is a strong sorcerer. Mimiko is one of the twins that Geto adopted. She has an unnamed technique. We don't know what it's called, and it looks like she has a doll that she can manipulate, and whatever she does to that doll gets transferred to her target. But she has to use like a physical object to like attack the doll. Her preferred method is hanging her targets. We see her with a rope, and I think she hanged a bunch of people at one point. She could probably do other stuff, but I think she mostly just hangs people. Doesn't seem very strong though, and we don't really see how she would do in a battle against sorcerers. So I think she would be a D tier character. Nanako is the other twin adopted by Geto, and I think she's stronger than her sister. She also has an unnamed technique, but her technique lets her manipulate objects that she photographs. She can kill people that she photographs, but she can also use it on herself. We saw her do this when she survived Sukuna's attack and just like transferred her and her sister to a different location, but it kind of wore her out a lot. But that's a crazy feat that she did that, and she survived an attack from Sukuna. But other than that, we don't really see what kind of combat ability she has. But just from her reaction time against Sukuna, I'm going to put her into C tier. Next up, we have this guy. I completely forgot about this dude. I did not know his name, and I had to look it up. His name is Toshihisa Negi. He's a part of Geto's group, and we don't really know much about him. Don't really see him in fights. So I think he goes into D tier. We're finally at the end of JJK0, and the last new character that was introduced is Masamichi Yaga, the principal at Jujutsu High. He's a grade 1 sorcerer. I don't think he has a innate technique, but he can create cursed corpses by infusing dolls with cursed energy cores. He seems very skilled at creating cursed corpses, and throughout the series we see him create a lot, and some that are tiny, some that are big, and Panda that is like the first cursed corpse that is independent. So that's an impressive feat. He's got a little tiny army that will defend him, but I don't think he's very strong. He got killed by Gramps, and I think that brings him down. I don't think his cursed corpses are very strong. I don't think he's very strong as a fighter, but with his cursed corpses, he could do some sort of damage. So I think he's going to be C tier. Thanks a lot for watching. I really want to try to make a bunch of these videos and try to go through and rank every single character. I think it's fun. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if some of my choices were stupid. I will listen. I will change if I agree with you. I forgot how big JJK0 was and how many characters there were in it. I didn't realize that there were so many strong characters in it, and this is gonna take forever, but I'm excited. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you again.